Captains of Industry, brought to you by Airtel.
Welcome back. Now, in year 2004, Futhi Mtoba was named South Africa's Businesswoman of the Year. Throughout her career, she's been, for instance, the adjudicator of the Financial Services Board. She's been the president of the Association of the Advancement of Black Accountants in Southern Africa. She's a staunch advocate of racial and gender transformation in business. She's also a yogi. Futhi Mtoba is our captain of industry tonight. How do you feel, Futhi, when the number one is attached to your name? First black female partner of a big four accounting firm, first black female, this, that, and the other. How does that make you feel?
I guess proud and blessed. Yeah, that's how I would put it.
You never look at yourself in the mirror and think, oh my goodness, I'm a trailblazer.
Well, I think that doesn't quite okay, but you feel good about yourself, you know, and also quite challenged, because with that comes the responsibility of wanting to do more. You know, there's more expectations, and also you ask yourself, how has this benefited, you know, other people? How can I improve on that? Yeah. So
some people would say that, you know, just given that you look at it, your achievements in terms of the broader significance for the community, that some people say it's too much of a responsibility to bear when you are a stellar performer and a trailblazer and somebody who's breaking glass ceilings, that you're almost expected to succeed. Nobody ever thinks that you have moments of weakness, incidents of failure.
Now, I think you have to quickly sort yourself, because for me, I always put responsibility on myself, because you can never be responsible for what people think, but what you are responsible for. So if you want to know how do I deal with it, I know I'm not a superwoman. So I expect myself to fail, I expect myself to cry, I expect myself not to know everything. So how do I then manage? You know, I consult, I use mentors. Even my so-called mentees find themselves mentoring me. So I mean, that's what I use, because the expectation can be overwhelming. So the good thing is to try not to allow that to overwhelm me.
Now, some of us know that you were born and raised in Swaziland in a very big family, but you often credit your parents, but in particular your father, for your career success. Why is that?
I actually credit both, because my father was a principled man. He always had this saying that only the truth shall set you free. So he was a believer of truth, stay by do the right thing. It doesn't come with, it comes with a price, but you have to do it. And also working hard, and nothing comes easy, so he enforced that. My mother on the other side, and also my father, used to emphasize the fact that as girls we had to work more harder for financial independence, and so we grew up knowing that somewhere out there is some man, you know, that you have to make sure that you are able to support yourself, because you can't rely 100% on that. Now, on the other side with my mother, she also was another woman activist. I guess having 10 children and 7 of whom are girls, there was no way duties had to be, you know, divided according to gender. Everybody had to do whatever. So she also taught us in her own way that nothing really was for the reserve of any one gender or the other.
So when you look at those life lessons taught to you by your parents, how do you apply them in the work that you do day to day?
Firstly, you can't blame who you are for whatever. From a gender perspective, you have a much more higher outlook. You believe that everything is possible if you apply your mind and if you work very hard, and you you try to stick to what you believe is right, because and you take responsibility for your own decisions, because you define who you are and what becomes of you. So that the responsibility placed on yourself, we were given very early. So it's very difficult to be blaming other people for whatever. At the end of the day, I have to come back and say, was this a right decision? And I must feel satisfied, you know, at a personal level.
So trust your own instincts. Do you think when you're a woman in high-level business, you have to be a feminist?
What does that mean?
Do you have to be a feminist? You have to constantly and always push an agenda that is pro-women. You have to prove that women can do it. You have to open up the doors for other women. Does that have to be the principle by which you govern?
One of the things that I know is that having a critical mass of like-minded people or people like you, it assists you. So from that perspective, you have to drive that. And also, more importantly, you have to drive the understanding that women, we come with different baggages. Like, for an example, your family, your children. Yeah. And these responsibilities, we like them, we enjoy them, and we also enjoy the work. So you have to try and push for an environment that understands the women for who they are. So if you had to ask what happened in my environment in Deloitte, I have been fortunate again in that when our organization recognized that they were losing a lot of women because they had to opt for, you know, raising children, then they had to look and say, how can we say we want to maximize the human capital, meanwhile we're losing 50% of that country's available capital. So then we looked at the strategies, and what they found out was that the women were not leaving the organization because they were going home, but they were going to other organizations. So obviously it was meaning finding a place that accommodates me and my bundle of joys in the form of children. So therefore the environment now is such that those policies are for all employees, because also men come with such baggages like their children.
I mean, the reason I'm asking you this is because, you know, accounting, finance is such a highly specialized field. And already the statistics show that in South Africa, we've only got something like 200,000 accountants in general, and less than 2,000 of those are black. And I'm sure if you looked even further, fewer than that would be women. So when somebody looks at you in your very senior position, they would automatically expect you to be flying the flag for women. And I wonder if you see it that way.
Yes. Definitely, and an accounting profession, I must add, is a particularly difficult one for women, in the sense that you work long hours, you know, you work on deadlines, and you work in the evenings. So an understanding partner is a must-have in that environment. You stay in audits very late at night. So for young women, you need to encourage them, and because they look up at you and say, well, if she has to abandon her children, then I don't want to be like her or stay in this environment. So you need to teach that no, you must stay in the environment because it needs you. You must also have your children because that's what you want to do and your contribution to the greater society. But how do you do this? You need to communicate your needs. You need to understand the context of your work, and within that context be able to support your family, at the same time enjoy your work.
So when you're not working and being part of the broader solution to South Africa, you do yoga, and you're one of two high-profile women I know who make the time for yoga. Why is it so important?
It's brilliant. You know, I do Bikram yoga. So
that hot room.
The room is 40 because that's what the business environment is like. You know, I love it I do it for health reasons, and I also do it for, you know, mind, spirit, and soul. You know, I find it gives you that space where you can just, you know, be yourself in this room. I mean, they have this one saying that say, be in the moment, and I love it, you know, because it teaches you to concentrate, you know, on the work at hand. So you can't be wondering when you are supposed to be focusing in this highly intensive environment. I enjoy yoga.
And you also play golf?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'm curious about this one because I think golf is okay. For you, is it fun or fad? Because many people do it because of the networking.
It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Networking is one, but golf is very fun because, you know, it also teaches you some skills, you know. Cannot blame anybody. When you don't hit that ball right, you can't say they didn't show me the line, they didn't do this.
Yeah.
You have responsibility to do the work. So you can't blame anybody for not executing properly.
It's the second time you say that, and I think personal responsibility is a huge issue for you. For anybody who's going to work with you in the future or would have worked with you in the past, how would you want them to describe you?
What you see is what you get. That's all.
And I've enjoyed having you. Thanks so much to you, Futhi Mtoba. She's the president of Business Unity SA, the current chairman of Deloitte Southern Africa. I must just tell you, she insists on it being chairman and not chairperson. No political correctness for her. She's really emphasized the idea of personal responsibility in pursuing your career and in your conduct in business. And she says she insists on being part of the solution for South Africa in the post-apartheid era. The views there of our captain of industry today, Futhi Mtoba. Thanks for your time.